So I've just been messing around these past few days with a couple of ideas, and I've settled on one to do because it seemed fun, to be honest. But now I've started, it seems very, very daunting. But my idea is to create a whole Pokemon region with at least 100 Pokemon. That's my goal. At least 100 Pokemon by the end of this video. And it's slightly less good news for me, to be fair. But as some of you know, I'm a really big Pokemon fan. I've played a lot of the games and most of the fan games, my favourite being Uranium, because it's got such a unique twist on Pokemon with them being able to be infected by nuclear energy. This Pokemon region is going to be called Nellas, because it's... I don't know. I don't know why. I just mixed up letters. It's how everyone gets words. Everyone makes up new words like that, I think. So here is what I've got so far. It's not a lot. It's only half a sheet of however big this size of the canvas is. I really honestly don't know. I've got about 24 Pokemon in there. Speed counting. I've got about 24 Pokemon in there, 2 regional forms, and the regional form evolves twice. But I'm just going to go through them real quick and, yeah, just go through my process, my thought process behind each one. So I don't have names for most of them. The ones that I do have names before I made up before I started this. But we've got a USB stick Pokemon who stores data, and then its evolution, it evolves into a plug, which it's again plugged into, and then it evolves into a big plug because fun. Yes, I enjoy drawing things that have the same base Pokemon. So this is here, and then it's here again. It's kind of ridiculous. And then we got my next design, which is Psyfly. It's a Firefly, but it's a Cyclops. It's just got one big eyeball, I think. And then we've got Sprig. It's a mushroom-based Pokemon, poison type. I don't think I'm going to add the grass typing to that one. Then we got this snail that has a compass in its back that always points true north, no matter which way the snail points, of course. That's how compasses work. Then its evolution, it's broken out of its shell and it's grabbed the needle, and it's got now 3 more compasses growing on its back, all of which I point out are going to point to its siblings, or something like that. It's very lore heavy in terms of this one. Next we have Shassing, or Shaking, because King and Shadow, I don't know. He's a psychic type, psychic metal, I think, psychic steel. He's pretty simple, to be fair. I don't have a name for this one, but I remember I made it up quite a long time ago. Then next we've got Disco, Pawka, and Pawkanoth. I don't really know what was going around my head when I made these. Next I made Clothanoct. It's very simple, it's just a cloth octopus. Possibly links to a new typing, maybe cloth? I don't know. And this is a first definite new typing, is sound. We got Volumite, which is just a crotchet that has an eye inside. And it evolves into Velocity. There's a bit of lore behind Velocity, and that is that every single different Velocity song is different. And it'll play a different thing. That little grey bar is just what it actually ends up playing. Yeah, right there. I'm on rubber, but doesn't matter. Yeah, it's got 3 staves, and also the colour changes depending on what song it's playing. Next, I made my first regional form, Nilation Whismur. It's a psychic type, or maybe psychic water. I like the idea that it could be psychic water. But for now, it's just psychic type, psychic normal. And you can see quite obviously it's based on Whismur, and he's just got these little swirls, psychic swirls, I call them. Then he evolves into Mesmer, who's related to the water theme, actually, so we might change type here to psychic water. He's got little frills by the side of his head. I can't point to them because you guys can't see me, but then he evolves into this buff tentacle dude called Hypnoct. I really like this one. Okay, next we've got my second regional form. He's meant to be a regional form of Wailmer, and eventually I'll probably make an evolution, but for now it doesn't matter. And he's become a fire fighting type. I know, complete type switch, as opposed to Whismur, which was originally normal. Then next we have Tar. Tar is an interesting one because he too has a bit of lore around him. His evolution is probably going to have some sort of sword, like in its tail, and it's going to be wrapped around. So imagine like it's going to be wrapped around the handle like that. Yeah, I always thought the evolution would be pretty cool because he's got a scimitar. This one's called Tar. Yeah, Tar like that. So, as you can see, I actually do end up going with the scimitar. After designing him and making a few mistakes, to be honest, as to be expected, it was always going to go a tiny bit wrong. I didn't have much faith that I could do it perfectly. Or any faith I could do it perfectly, actually. Giving him a nice scimitar was hard because I had to figure out the best position, but I finally got it and then went to work on the eyes. Next, I went to work on a particularly favourite old design of mine. It's a magnifying glass. It's very simple, I'll give it that, but when it evolves, it becomes all sorts of things. So it could either go to a pair of glasses or a pair of binoculars. As you can see, I go with a telescope to start with. So I make a few mistakes while designing this one, and eventually settle on the same lamp stand like feet that I gave the telescope and the same hands. I fiddle around with a few things before settling on a monocle, which then I end up smoothing out all of the details, so I might as well have just coloured it in by hand. Then I settle on putting a frame and glass onto the monocle. I like the monocle effect because it stays with the vision, and I don't particularly like the two double chains, so I eventually make it so that it goes out the other side and turns into a big spiked ball. Well, I don't know why, that just seemed fun. I make another mistake. I make mistakes all the time. I'm human. Then I try moving around the monocle before realizing it doesn't work too well. Then I colour in the inside of the glass and his actual lens, and behind it I put, thankfully I managed to actually get this right, but I put the chain before completing his eye and adding some colour. Next, I'm moving on to another previous design, not that I've shared it on YouTube or on any kind of platform, but this is an anchor-like mischievous little demon who just loves stealing. And in this particular frame, I love it because, as you'll see in a second, it's like he's emptying his hand to reveal a ton of jewels that he's just stolen, and the expression on his face is just priceless. You can see here the whole design starts to come together really, really nicely, with adding a bit of stain onto the fingers, like the stuff that stains your fingers when you steal it. It's based off that, and then adding some colour to the jewels. I had a lot of fun with this design. Next, I move on to another preset design. This one's previous name was Headale, but that definitely needs improvement. So, drop a comment. Let me know what you think the name should be. And as you can see, I took a while to get these spines right. But eventually I got there and added in his nice spiky tail. First off, I'd just like to say that I'm not going to make over 100 Pokemon in this video. We've got everything on this page, obviously, and I'm going to try fill up as much of the space as possible with any designs I have or have made before. Also, again, good time to mention, my color theory is not very good. So, the colors on this Pokemon maybe not the right colors. Also, if you guys have any ideas for names of the unnamed ones, please comment down below. It would really help, as I struggle to think of names most of the time. Unless, of course, they're just simple combinations of words. And it was at this point that I began to get a little discouraged. I mean, I've almost run out of paper ideas, not really much to go off on the sheets that I've gathered. But I will strive to continue. I've got no idea what I'm going to do for starters. And, well, we'll see how this goes. Next, I work on a split evolution from Chimicho. I don't think this one particularly went well, but he ends up looking like a sort of Voltorb-like anglerfish that stands on two legs. Next, I moved on to, yet again, another previous design, Shock Horror. And this one's a sort of evil, a bear, like a cute bear that's been turned evil. You can see he's got nice sharp claws, which took me quite a while to get right, and then I work on the details for a bit. Next is Spike, or it was called Spike. And I came up with this when I was about 7 or 8, and I just really liked the design, so I brought it back, obviously remaking it in the process. The theory behind this one was it was just an electric water-type bird. I had a bit of fun drawing it, but I don't think it ended up looking as good as some of the other ones I've done. Then comes a design that I love. I absolutely adore this design. Not because it looks good or better than any of the others, but because I've had this idea lined up for so long, it seems ridiculous I hadn't done it yet. And this is a split evolution from Paris called Crush Boom. I'm keeping this name, just advance warning. And it's just I came up with the idea. Again, I was really young. I just fell in love with the idea, and I just always wanted to make Crush Boom a reality. And this was finally my chance. After working for a solid 10 minutes on an idea that, quite honestly, I ended up not liking and completely scrapping, I finally start work on another really fun design, which is a regional form of Pikachu. Yeah, I know, it hasn't been done before. Well, I don't think it's been done before, not in any of the games I've played. But this is a sort of post-apocalyptic grass-type Pikachu that's been surviving out here for years, so it's adapted to its natural environment. And the green that I add later, which you'll see, that is its camouflage, essentially, against the wild. I'm not really sure what to do for its evolution at this point. So, I finally came up with an idea, which was, after, obviously, I tried out some other designs for Pikachu evolutions, and finally settled on another regional form, but this time of Raichu. So in the end, I decide on this, I think, quite nice looking design. I gave him antlers because that played a bit on the spikes on the regional forms, the Nilation Pikachu, we'll call him, his ears. And after fixing his arms and giving him a nice snake, I start work on a leafy tail and then finally give him a gas mask. This plays more into the post-apocalyptic way of living, I'm going to say. And then I give him the bulbous cheeks that Pikachu traditionally has, colour it in, and then this design is done. Next, I start work on my favourite design of this entire video. This is a fire and early route bug type that you could catch. I don't know, I was sort of running out of ideas and I seemed to hit this brainwave. It then proceeds to evolve into this, what I think is really cool. And it's got like fiery ears and fiery wings, and it becomes a fire, well, I would say fire flying, but I wanted to keep the bug type, so it'll stay fire bug, but it gets these really cool fiery wings. I play with a couple of tail designs for actually quite a long time before I eventually start doing this weird flytrap sort of mouth. I was thinking this could possibly be related to Carnivine, but after starting to draw it properly, I scrapped the whole idea, mostly because it didn't look at all like Carnivine. I just wanted to create some kind of deadly plant Pokemon. It seemed like a cool idea. I start to colour it in, and it all starts to sort of make sense. I actually start enjoying it, and the resemblance with Sky, or that one PJ Masks character, slightly disappears. The next, it's random idea time. I thought, what could I do with magnetics? And obviously, I settled on another tail. Yes, so I just added a little magnet onto this little dude's tail. And I'm not entirely sure why I do what I do next, which is one, colour in the legs, different colours, and then two, go with a horrible looking purple. I don't particularly like it. If you like it, I'm not going to change it anyways. But if you guys like it, I'm sorry. I don't. This is one of my least favorite ones. At least its evolution should be better. Yes. So the evolution did start out quite well, but eventually I start to realize that, well, it's based a lot on a dinosaur, a very specific dinosaur, and it's a very minimalistic sort of design. I don't know if you guys like it. You like it. That's pretty cool. The colouring, I think I did a bit better than the last one, but it's all fairly the same from here on. Next, I want to do some sort of electric eel Pokemon, but without the electricity, because I'm not normal, and I love things that aren't normal. So I went with this sort of spiny, black, soulless lizard, and I actually ended up really, really liking it. So I made him, an evolution. Because that's the best thing to do when you like something. Make an evolution that could be very possibly much worse. So, in very Giratina style, I make his body and begin to add these weird tendrils coming off him. These will eventually morph into wings, or at least the top one will, from each side. And hopefully it looks a bit better than it started out as. It was quite embarrassing, to be honest. All finished, and I actually end up really loving this design. It just seemed to be so mystical. And then next, in true fashion, I work on something the complete polar opposite. I work on some sort of claw machine thing. Should be good, right? Well, I didn't think it would end up being too good, but apparently, my drawings had other ideas. And this thing actually ended up looking kind of nice. Next up, I am, or was at least, a big Brawl Stars fan. So in true style, I went with a Paco-inspired Pokémon. Any of you who play Brawl Stars out there, you'll know what I mean. And it's just based on him. It's not him. I'm not claiming to have like designed his art completely. And it's just a sort of bug type Paco. It's finally done. Thanks for sticking with me if you have until the end. Drop a like, subscribe, and I'll be seeing you all next time. Before I forget, don't forget to leave a like. If this video gets, I'll say 50 likes, I'll do another one. See you all next time.